Never taking a backward step. It's Larry Williams Drive with Tim Wilson on Newstalk ZB.
13 to 5 right now. You're with Newstalk ZB. Well, look, put down the phone when your child's in the water. Put it down. That's the message from a new campaign launched by the New Zealand Recreation Association. That's to lower drowning rates of children under 5. On average, 6 under 5s drown every year, with a further 34 hospitalisations. The NZRA's Aquatics Program Manager, Tracey Prince, is with me. Tracey, welcome. Poor supervision, is that what's to blame here for these infant drownings?
Yes, it's definitely a factor that's contributed to children drowning.
What about the phones? I mean, when we say poor supervision, what we also mean are parents glued to their cell phones, updating the facey and not paying attention to what their kids are doing in the pool.
Definitely. And, you know, it's not just the pool environment either. I mean, our focus is pools, but it's in the wider aquatic space. So, you know, at the beach, at home, even in the bathtub, you know, a few seconds looking at your phone can mean the difference of, you know, things turning terrible for your child.
Tracey, can you give me an example of, and you don't need to mention any names, but a situation, just paint a picture so that so parents can understand what we're talking about here.
We see it definitely a lot at aquatic facilities where parents are sitting on the side and they've got their under 5s in those beach type pools where, you know, the depth is not that great, but under 5s can trip, as most parents out there know, pretty easily, and they're face down in the water, and it only has to be a couple of centimetres of water, and you know, unless that parent's there to help them up, or in the case of what happens at most of our aquatic facilities in the country, you'll have another parent or a lifeguard that actually pulls the child up. It only takes a few seconds for that child to get into difficulty in the water. So we see it quite often. And at our aquatic facilities, we've had multiple rescues, even just leading up into the Christmas period where that's occurred.
Let's get a sense of how much this is increasing the statistics. Parents on phones, what percentage is it increasing? Let's say kids going to hospital, but also fatalities.
It's been quite hard to quantify the hospitalisations, just because it's data that's only just started to be captured. But definitely with the drownings, it's on average 6 infants a year across all aquatic environments. We've been very lucky at our Poolsafe facilities that we haven't had infants drown recently in the last few years, but that's because of those interventions. That means that children have either been hospitalised or most of the time they've actually just got a fright, and mum or dad or the caregivers got a bit of a fright because actually they didn't see it happen. So we're quite fortunate, but we don't want any children to drown at our facilities, and that's why this is super important that we get that message out there. We're trying to stop it before it happens.
Okay, if all parents took note of this message, where do you think the drowning toll would be?
We'd have zero. We'd have 0 infants drowning in New Zealand if all parents took heed of this message.
So from 6 to 0?
Yeah, and that would be amazing.
That absolutely would. Beach or pool, which location is worse?
I don't think we can say that either are worse. I think it just depends. I think the things we need to consider is this summer's been amazingly wonderful, and we've had some really hot weather, which means we've got more people out there recreating in any type of water environment. So the risk is going to go up because of the sheer numbers using our swimming pools, going to the beach, popping down to the river. And so we need to make sure that we're supervising our children out there.
That's Tracey Prince. Thank you very much, Tracey, from the New Zealand Recreation Association. And look, I want to hear from you on the text. If you've been in this situation and had a near miss with a kid while you've been on the phone or you've seen it, please text us on 92